Alright, first folks, I'd like to apologize for the wind, but it kind of starting to storm a little bit over the way, but it doesn't look like it's going to hit us. A few people have been asking me how I've been liking the braid because they've been seeing the orange line. And I've really enjoyed it. It's not a bad thing at all. It does float a little bit, especially when it's dry, but using a split shot like I normally do tends to take care of that. I also received in the mail from a viewer and subscriber some Gulp Natural White maggots in a jar that was asking about using a shelf-stable bait, and some Power Bait crappie niblets. Now I have used the Gulp and the crappie niblets just a little bit, and I've caught a couple on the Gulp, and I hope to do that today, although, you know, with wind and all, it may not work. Not so much with the crappie nibbles. I'm going to still give them a try. Most of my trying has been here in my personal pond, so it's not unusual to catch a fish on something unusual out here. I do intend on trying these in other locations. Also, I had a friend pick me up some of this from a closeout store. It's Yum Trout Kriller paste in kind of a tan earthwormy color. I will include pictures of all these things at the end of the video so everybody can see what it is. But I'm really liking the way the braid works. I feel it a lot better, and with it being orange I can see. And we're working on trying to figure out some shelf-stable baits I can keep in the Jeep, just so I can go fishing when I get the chance. Don't know how it's going to work. Stay tuned. We'll see what we can do to find out. Okay, here we have the Berkley Gulp maggot going out there. We'll see what happens. Notice the, I don't know if you can see it or not, but the orange line floating on the surface. I can move it, let it sink, and it acts as an indicator without having to use a strike indicator or a bobber or anything like that. I can pretty much see when a fish takes it by the line moving. There we go. Fish on. Okay, now we're going to try this Trout Kriller. Stuff is a paste bait, kind of sticky, not really a dough bait. I don't know how well it's going to hold on the hook. Doesn't seem like it will hold too well at all, although that just shows that it is still on the hook. Let's see what it does. It is definitely a heavier bait than the Berkley Gulp maggot. And it seems to work. Didn't have nearly the amount of time between putting the bait on and catching a fish with that as I did with the maggot. Very interesting. Okay, now the Berkley Power Bait crappie nibbles. These are bright yellow in color, which I could see would help in clearer water, but we've had a lot of rain. There was flooding in town, or in Charleston, in the city. Even had a water spout up on the lake just this week. Whoop. See how that works. Now, like I said, I've done a little experimentation using these and using the maggots, and to be honest with you, I have not had much luck off this. Alright, so apparently the Berkley maggots will stay on the hook and they will catch fish. I did not give the crappie nuggets a very major trial today, but they tend not to have had much luck in my experience and opinion in the past. I fished with them a couple times out here and it's just not been the best thing in the world. The trout krilla seems to have promise, but it doesn't stay on the hook. I'm imagining there is some sort of ribbed worm or something like that goes with trout krilla. I don't know if maybe dipping a Berkley maggot through would do any good or not. I could imagine that if you dip a Berkley maggot through, it would hold on to the trout krilla enough to cast out and create a chum line or a chum sled. I do know the crappie nibbles, which I'm currently using, just do not seem to produce. Okay, maybe I spoke too soon. I actually have a fish on a crappie nibble. Of course, I dipped it in trout krilla, but still, it's a fish on a crappie nibble. Okay, I moved inside because it was a little windy and threatening storm, but I wanted to tell everybody that I'm really liking the Suffolk sprayed line. It's a blaze orange color. I'll try and get a picture at the very end. It's 8-pound test. I also have some 6-pound test. I have not made up any liters in the 6-pound test. I've just used the 8-pound. Now, in regards to baits, the Berkley Gulp maggots, little white maggots, and I will get a picture of them, seem to be working pretty good. I'm not going to say they're great. I've had just as much success with worms. I've had more success with worms. There's still mostly a full jar here. I'm going to give it a very good test over the rest of the summer. Doesn't mean I'm going to give up fishing with natural baits, just means I'm going to give this a good test. The power bait. I did catch one on the crappie nibble power bait, this neon yellow color, but I dipped it in the trout krilla. It's the only fish I've caught on these. I've used several of these, just testing around in the pond. I'm not going to give up on them. I'm going to give them a good try. Still got most of a jar in here, but I'm just pretty sure they're not the best thing in the world. Now we come to this Yum Trout Krilla. It's a paste. It's gooey. It's sticky. Doesn't stay very well on a hook like most pastes don't. I'm assuming that I'm doing something slightly wrong with it. I'm thinking it's probably, you dip a trout worm or something through it and it sticks to the trout worm. I'm not sure. I'm going to look it up on the internet. This was just something somebody gave me. They knew I was looking for stuff like that. They found it on a closeout. It was like $1.50, something like that. It seems to have caught a fish. It seems to maybe help the trout nibbles. I did not try dipping one of the Berkley maggots in it, but we'll see how that goes later on. I'm going to give all this a good try. Like I said, at the very end, I will get a good picture of each one of these things individually so everybody can see what I'm talking about. I enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching.